Good morning, everyone. It's time to look at the market again. We're gonna look at Bitcoin, altcoins, the cycle. We're gonna look at what trades to take. So let's dive in with starting to look at Bitcoin's market compass. It's still the red background. So the red background means Bitcoin is kind of bearish, and you have to be very cautious in taking trades. When you take a trade, do respect your stop loss and take profit. You want to have one take profit and one stop loss, and then move on to the next trade. Because in a red phase, the corrections can be very volatile and you can lose a lot of your gains just by losing one big trade. So still nothing really changed here. I do expect eventually we will see a test of the blue 50-week moving average, which sits around 102K. Of course, every week that passes by, this one is gonna slope down, and then as you know, we'll see it in the technical analysis. The 99K level is very important, so that will be a crucial test. Let's look at the cycle view. I'm gonna turn off the market compass indicator, go to the monthly. So the monthly chart is still showing that we are probably topped for the cycle here at month 35. October was the top of Bitcoin's cycle. And yeah, if we look at the 10 moving average, so I'm gonna put on the 10 moving average here. You can see we're trading below it. There was one close below the 10 month moving average, now heading into the second one. The last time that happened was, of course, this cycle where it closed and then had a second close. But you can see eventually there will be a test of that yellow moving average. I mean, it's highly probable. So that means a test around 100K is still in the cards. If we look at the 50-week moving average, so the moving average we discussed before, that's the blue line. We had a few tested here in March. We tested the moving average in September, and after testing it here in November, we broke down. And the most probable path is for Bitcoin to come and test that moving average, but it's now more probable to reject from this level and then head lower. So I'm still open to the idea that Bitcoin could have this level broken and then move higher, but the probabilities are less in favor for that scenario. But we always have to keep that in mind. So what are the levels for me to say, okay, Bitcoin is gonna push higher? So I'm watching these levels here. On the daily time frame, you can see that we're now around 90K and heading back to that 86 level. I'm not sure if this level is such an important level, but I'm just keeping it here because it has been tested several times. Eventually, we will be testing this level 76K if the bear market resumes. Now, if Bitcoin is reclaiming 99K, I'm gonna take a long trade on Bitcoin and take a long trade from 99K to 107.5K. So that would be a nice trade that I would love to take. And then once we hit that 107.5K level, that's where I would expect a rejection to happen, and you would probably see something like this where Bitcoin moves higher, taking until that level and then getting rejected, and it would be a lower high in the making for, yeah, the cycle. If, of course, Bitcoin can reclaim that level, there is another trade setup. So you can place your stop loss somewhere here if you're going short around 108, 109. And then instead of keeping to short it, you can go long and try to have a trade here from 107.5 to 117K. That seems like a nice trade as well. So we'll see how Bitcoin moves, but yeah, if let's say 99K is the place to get rejected and that becomes the lower high, then yeah, you would expect Bitcoin to eventually come down to this 76, 74K level, which we've been watching for many weeks. So I think there is a high probability that eventually Bitcoin will come and get there if the bear market continues. All right, now looking at Bitcoin dominance, it's going flat for the last couple of days, so not much has happened. That means altcoins are, yeah, following Bitcoin, but looking at Ethereum, it has been outperforming Bitcoin. So I would say it's due to Ethereum that this is relatively flat and most altcoins are actually down. And we will see the altcoin versus Ethereum chart very soon. But I do think this is more the cause because Ethereum has been so strong lately. And that's actually why we took that leverage trade on Ethereum Bitmine, the crypto stock, last week. So here looking at Ethereum, you can see that it broke that 3050 level and it came for a retest and now had a higher high, so way stronger than Bitcoin. So if you took this trade, I would still keep it open until hitting 3,600 to 3,700. So that's the level where you want to take some profits. If, of course, this level is gonna break, we're watching again that 2,500 level seems like a spot where Ethereum might be heading then. So my opinion is that Ethereum is still stronger than Bitcoin. So that's why I am keeping my leverage trade on that crypto stock open because it's holding a lot of ETH but trading near a undervalued level. So that's why I'm keeping it open and expecting for Ethereum to at least hit that 3,600 level, and that's where I might take some profits if I am watching Ethereum. But we'll look in on the stock in a second. This is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. We were saying that it broke this trend line, and ever since Ethereum had a nice move against Bitcoin. My base case is that eventually we will hit this 0.04 level. And if that level breaks, yeah, I can see Ethereum versus Bitcoin go even higher, and that would be also very bullish for the holdings. This is all altcoins versus Ethereum, and you can see they had a lot of sell-off here in the last couple of days, meaning altcoins are underperforming Ethereum, and you rather want to hold Ethereum instead of altcoins, and that's actually what I've been doing. If you look at Solana, it's a complete different chart compared to Ethereum. Yeah, it had some bounces here around that 130 level, but the bounces were very meaningless. So it didn't really do anything besides testing that 145 level. So that's a very narrow trade. This is more like, yeah, day trading that you have to do. I think there is still a possibility if Bitcoin is bullish again, then we might see an eventual test of that 175 level. That's where I would definitely take some profits. And yeah, if this level fails, then I'm becoming more and more bearish for Solana. Yeah, you could see 95, 94 level very quickly. So this is a very important level to hold for Solana. Looking at Tron, still making lower highs here. Now also still watching that 27 level. So I assume it's going to get there. That's where you could take a long trade and then take profits at 30 cents. Binance Coin is, yeah, okay, in my opinion. It actually made a higher high here. So looking good here, coming to test that 840, 850 level. That's where you take a long trade again if you're yeah, if you want to take an altcoin in your portfolio. I think Binance Coin is definitely a good replacement if you already own Ethereum. Zcash, so still watching that 270 level, but I was a bit aggressive this morning and I saw a retest here of around 410 and took a long trade. So I am long on Zcash right now, but with a tight stop loss here around 380. And yeah, assuming we can go to 480 in the next leg higher. So I am long on Zcash. Dash, still waiting for that 42 level to get hit. So not much has happened in the last couple of days. XRP, similar story. It went for a big test here of $1.95, but failed to make a higher high. So now you can try to take another long trade if you haven't already at 1.95. Now, if this level breaks, there's not a lot of support here. So yeah, it could easily go very quickly to 95 cents because this is a really important trend line for XRP. And so do keep your stop losses in place in case that level breaks. Bitcoin Cash, you can take a long trade. So Bitcoin Cash, also a very strong altcoin right now. I'm actually thinking about taking one here because it's right sitting at support. Of course, we're watching a bit lower if you're less aggressive, but this is a decent trade setup, at least to try to take a long trade for Bitcoin Cash. Chainlink had a test of that 11.5 level. So if you're long here, you wanna see that level hold. Cut position if this support level breaks at around $11. And the level where you can at least take some profits is here at 16.5, or if you take the next high here at $19. So depending on how bullish you are, I'm not really very bullish on Link, but you can see that it can make some sharp moves in a short time. So definitely something to watch for. Hyperliquid broke down. We sold Hyperliquid once it broke $37, now heading to 24. So I'm still watching this level. I think last week I said 21, but you can see there is a lot of support here at 24. So I would say take a long trade once it can hit 24, or if that 37 level gets broken above, you can take a long trade as well. Yeah, so this is Bitmine Immersion Tech. This one is a trade we took last week because it formed a swing low, took that out, and then had a bullish close on the weekly time frame. You can see there was a bullish candle here closing right above that swing low, and since then the position is up 20%. That's really decent already. You could say, okay, I'm happy with those profits. You can already take some profits because we do have a short-term resistance here. So I do expect the price to at least stabilize here. And what I'm doing is also moving up my stop loss to 0 because I don't want to lose money on this trade. So you can move up your stop loss and you can already, if you want, take 10% off that position. But I'm watching $60 here as a level to take profits. And you never know if it does something like this candle, which was up 3000%. You never know. It can happen in a week. Just leave some ammo in case there is a push higher. PIVX, it's now testing that 15 cents level. I was bullish, but it's losing some momentum. So I wouldn't personally take this trade, but here is the level it should hold if it want to move higher. I'm gonna remove it from the list if this level can't hold. And then Avicii, we were saying watch the 8 exponential moving average, but of course the trend will eventually fail, and this is where it started to fail and close below it. Now it's trading below the 8 moving average. You would think, where do we take a next trade? So for Avicii, you can then go to the 8 weekly moving average, where you can see that it found some support here at the 8 exponential moving average on the weekly time frame. So this could be another long trade for Avicii. But of course, this is not a lot price history, so very high risk trade. Be careful. And that's it for Bitcoin, its analysis and all the altcoins. So yeah, not much has changed. I think we're waiting for the bounce in Bitcoin, but as I said in the on-chain report, it can take around 2 months for the bottom to form, and then we could see a move higher in Bitcoin. But I do think eventually we will get a test of that 50-week moving average, and yeah, at least see how Bitcoin performs once it hits that resistance. In the meantime, we're long on Ethereum. So let's see if Ethereum can continue to outperform Bitcoin in the short term. If you have questions, do let me know, and I'm happy to reply to any of them. See you in the next update. Bye.